think I need a long lie down. I think I might actually need some sort of sedative. I'm not well. I just can't. I don't know if I can go on anymore living in this country. And it's actually making me hit the point of despair. And I'm not even exaggerating. This isn't even me being hyperbolic. I realised when I got home the other day after work that I'm like, this job is making me go doolally. I'm going to end up like Britney Spears, putting videos on Instagram, like writhing around in my kitchen in some sort of snake print bikini, wild-eyed and half lunatic if I carry on much longer. But that's okay, because I've got a good friend of mine joining me now who's a mental health nurse. It's Amy Gallagher, fantastic ex-NHS nurse at the Tavistock Clinic and commentator at the New Culture Forum. Oh, Amy, I mean, first of all, I just want to quickly say, how mental is this country become?
Yeah, I think this whole country needs to be put on a therapist's couch and given long-term treatment. It's gone crazy.
It really has gone crazy. And, a symptom of the craziness, or whether it's a cause, I don't know, or both. Yet again, here we have an NHS trust, a mental health trust that was once named the worst performing in the country. It was placed in special measures for 7 years. And now advertising for, guess what? A diversity officer to lead the trust's equality and inclusion strategies to drive cultural change. What cultural change? And what does it even mean to improve minority staff experience? This is exactly this sort of stuff that is making people go nuts. So the idea that, it's feeding people the information that if you happen to be from a different country, or have a different religion or a different language or a different sexuality, that somehow your life's victim and you should be in despair. So we're going to have to employ someone to tell everyone they got to tread carefully around you and do some online course because they're a monster inside. This is the stuff that makes people go tonto.
Indeed. I mean, look, the NHS is spending 40 million a year on diversity, equity and inclusion roles. 2 million of that goes on staff events like International Pronouns Day and so on. We have chronic staff shortages in the NHS. We have 7 million people on waiting lists for routine appointments, and yet it's spending money on this kind of stuff, which, as you say, I mean, there's no evidence, by the way, that any of this stuff improves patient outcomes or improves staff relationships. There is evidence increasingly that it is increasing division within the NHS. We've seen loads of lawsuits in terms of gender critical women defending their right to, have single sex spaces. It's causing, people be made to go along with anti-racist training days where they feel that actually it's racist and it makes them feel like they need to leave. So all of this stuff is making things worse, as you say, and it's making the NHS a really unpleasant place to work in. So why would we spend money on it? We know, for example, in terms of the trans and non-binary policies that were put in place, they were actually encouraging NHS trusts to break the law because they were saying that trans rights trump women's rights, which it doesn't. And even after the Supreme Court ruling, there are still trusts pushing these kind of policies, which were written up under DEI. And they are encouraging illegal practices. They're encouraging trusts to deny women their sex-based rights. So it's not even making things worse. It's actually encouraging illegality. And I honestly don't know why any government would allow this kind of money to be spent on this stuff when there's overwhelming evidence it's making everything worse.
Have you ever had to do one of these sort of inclusion training sessions?
Sorry?
Have you ever had to do one like something like this when you were at the NHS? Yeah, what do they do? I've never been on one. I don't know how I've managed to evade it in my adult life, I suppose, because I work for a sane corporation, thank goodness. What do they do? What do they say?
It's just ideology and dogma all the way down. And what's interesting is when you just ask questions about what they're teaching you, if they're teaching you about critical race theory or pronouns or gender identity, and you're not even hostile, you just sort of say, well, what does that mean? Can you just explain that? Because it's a bit confusing. I don't really understand, this concept of gender identity. They don't actually have an answer because they themselves haven't thought about it. They're just told to parrot these mantras, and you're just supposed to go along with it. I mean, I've had it that in my yearly appraisal, I've been asked, how have you been an anti-racist, and how are you an anti-racist on a daily basis?
Oh my goodness!
And I've just said, well, I'm not a racist.
Right. Oh, yeah. Amy, you're an amazing woman. Thank you ever so much for joining me on the programme. Let's go for a big old vat of wine soon, because Lord knows I'm going to need my head examined if I have to live in this country for much longer.